Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to work on our planner. It's going to be what they call a traveling journal, I guess, and that's what we're going to make, and we're going to start it today. I hope you'll stay tuned. So when you do this, what I did was I got two pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock and backed it on each other, and then I took it to Staples and they laminated it with this really hard laminating. And then I thought, oh, I'll just score it in the middle and make it really easy. Well, that made it do this little weird waffly thing. No one's going to see that because that's where our signatures are going to go, so I'm not worried about that, but I just thought I would tell you, if you do that, if you do take it to Staples and get yours laminated, this is what will happen, or maybe if you laminate yourself. The other thing you can do, and a lot of people have done this, is they go to the Dollar Tree, and I always use this one for poking holes in it, but it's a big placemat, and you cut it down to 9 by 11 or a little bit bigger, maybe 9 1/4 by 11 1/4. But anyway, that's what you can do. You can use one of these placemats if you want to do it that way. And it folds like this. And the problem I had with all the ones that I have is none of mine look good once you folded them. I couldn't figure out a way to make it look like the chicken wasn't, you know, confused on the back of the journal, basically. Here's what the front of the journal looked like. Kind of confused. I got the butt of a chicken there. So anyway, I couldn't figure out how to make that work. So we're going with this one that I had done myself last year and thought I would make it work and then forgot to do it. So you're going to take a ruler. If you have one of these centering rulers, it'll really help you, but if you don't, you don't have to. And what you're going to do is you're going to line it up so that your sides of your ruler are even with the sides of your paper. And so the zero, if you can see the zero right there, it's right in the center of mine. Well, I want things to be 1/2 inch away from the center, so I'm going to keep it in place, and I'm going to make a mark with a marker that's, this is a water-based marker, so it'll come off. I'm going to make it at 1/2 inch on either side of the zero. So you see that? That's 1/2 inch on either side of zero. Then at the bottom, you want to do the same thing. You want to line it up. Hopefully I'm still in frame. And we're going to put it at 1/2 inch from zero. Then we're going to go to the side. Now this is 9 inches tall, I know that. So when you're doing centering, you're going to go to 4.5 inches, and that should center it. You see how that works? The 4.5 makes it so it's 4.5 there and 4.5 here. If you've never used one of these rulers, that's how you use it. You figure out how long your paper is, and then you divide it in half, and then that's where you put the ruler at the top. So I want to have a spot right at the zero, and I'm going to put it about there. I want it to be 1 inch in, and so I'm going to, after I lay this down, I'll know exactly where 1 inch is. It's right there. I'm going to wipe the other one off. See how easy that is when you have that kind of marker? So that is where we're going to have our rubber band loop it around to hold it closed. Hope that made a lot of sense. I think it did. And then what we're going to use are eyelets. And if you have one of these, we are memory keepers. It's a, what do they call this thing? Geez, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it pokes holes and it sets eyelets. If you don't have an eyelet setter, you can use a hole punch for this part and go from there, or you can use something that's like a pokey tool, if that makes sense, a pokey tool, and you can poke the holes that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that I am poking holes with the bigger hole, which is this one, and I'm going to poke them 1/2 inch from the bottom of my paper. I forgot to mark that part. I marked them where I wanted them, but I didn't put them where I wanted them in terms of 1/2 inch. where the 1/2 inch is. And then I'll know. So let's do those first. And the way I do this, if any of you have hand or wrist issues and you can't make this work, here's how I do it. I lay it on my table like this. Then I put it all the way up to where my hole needs to go. And then you poke it, and then you punch it. And then I can just wipe off my little marks. You don't have to make the little marks. I need to do the 1/2 inch on this end. You're just trying to get a 1/2 inch from the pink paper, from the bottom of the pink paper. I'm going to put that little dot right there. And then a little dot right there. Ooh. Okay. Wipe those two off because I don't need them anymore. Center this one over the hole. And poke it out. Last one, and this one we just need to go 1 inch, which is all the way to the end of our, we might have a little trouble getting to that one because it won't go all the way to that spot because I have all that plastic in the way. We might have to make it less than 1 inch, so I'm just going to put it in as far as it'll let me go, which is that far. Okay, let me get rid of all my black marks. If you've never done anything with eyelets, they look like this, and you think to yourself, I think it's missing something because it just looks like it's finished on one side and the other side isn't. Well, here's the secret to it. We'll do this one first because it's easier to see. You put it, this is my outside of my book. You put it on the outside, and then you're going to put your little hole. There's a little line, a little bar that comes down kind of. I think you got the gist of it. All you're doing is putting it on the outside and have it roll off into your lap. But if you put it on the outside like that, then you put it so that there's a, see this little, this spike? That goes on the top. It goes through the top. Before I go any further, I wanted to tell you where I got most of this information from, and that was from Crafts-by-Lisha, L-I-S-H-A. I'll link her information below in case you want to go with her demonstration instead of mine. And then you're going to need some thick elastic cord. This is Jewelry Fundamentals. I don't know where I got this. For some reason I was thinking I got it at the Dollar Tree, but I don't know if I did or not. Might be a lie. And I'm taking the whole length of it, and I want to start, I want my end piece to be on the inside so that you don't see the knot. So I'm going to put it, I'm just going to kind of lay it in here like that, and keep this in here like that. You want to take the other end, you're starting from the back, you're going to go across to the front to the other side at the top. Pull it all the way through, and you don't want it to be loose, you want it to be not super tight, but you don't want it to be loose. So I'm going to put a little piece of tape here to hold that in place. Then we're going to take our end. Now we're on the inside of the book now. We're going to go down through that hole. Pull it all the way through. Then we're going to come up through our hole on the other side. I'm going to do 3 on each side. I think it goes a lot faster once you don't have so much extra I think you use roughly 2 yards of this, but I could be making that up. But I think that's about what you use. And I have 4 yards here, so if we end up having about half, then we'll know I'm right? Left, I mean, when we're done. I don't know what my craft room does, but I always get a runny nose when I'm in here. I think it's because it's so dirty. I got a new dresser that should take up all the messy stuff that's sitting around and hide it in the dresser. That would really make me happy. I just got that for Christmas, and it's making me really happy because Rich painted it today, so I'll get to see it tomorrow and play with it. Going down through that same hole again. I don't want them to be too loose. That one feels like it's loose. I can go the other way and get it out though. Alright, make it tighter once I can pull from this and make it tighter. Back up through the bottom. Sorry if you can't see this. So we have 3 on the left side, and then we're going to go through and then over to the right side, and then we're just going to tie it. So we have just these little strings at the bottom. I'm making sure that they're flat. They look good. Then I'm going to pull this up, take my tie off, tape, not tie. Okay, take that off, and then we're going to tie these together. This is now when you can tighten up your strings on your left side, because when you pull this, you're actually creating a tighter both sides. And I'm going to do one more knot. I might do 3 knots. I just really like to make sure this is well knotted. That ought to do it. And then they're all kind of loose, but not super loose. And I'm going to just cut it off and leave these little enders. I might make those shorter because I did knot it a lot, and hopefully it won't be a problem later. So there are our 3 on each side, and then this is our back, this is our front, that's our back, and now we're going to make our piece that we're going to wrap around our whole book to keep it closed. Now I wanted to do something fun on it, so I'm going to put a button. I have a little hole in the back of this button. You need to just figure out, what is it going to take to wrap around the book, and I'm going to do as much as I have right now. I can always cut it off a little bit later. Oh, almost cut the book. That would have been bad. Now we're going to pull both of our little strings through this hole backwards. And I'll show you what backwards means. You're going to have a loop on the outside like this with our button. Got that? Okay. And we're only going to need this loop to be long enough so it can go to like right a little bit longer, about there, because we have to account for this right here. So we're going to put a little button, if I can get this little button on here. We're going to put a little button here. The reason I'm doing a button is because I want 2 reasons. I want to be able to make sure that my knots don't come back through the other side, which they can if you don't have a good system. Sorry, I'm struggling to get this one through the hole. Okay, so I'm going to pull those like that, and I'm going to tie a knot there. We're just going to see if this is long enough. That's too long. See, that's why we're playing with it, to make sure it's not too long. Let's see, how about that far? See how that works. That seems pretty good. Okay, we're going to leave that like that. Then this is something that I thought of on my own. This is not something I saw anybody else do. And I'm going to make this just a little bit looser. So the other thing I wanted to do is I'm going to put another knot and another of these buttons. What my goal is, I want to be able to have a slot for my pen. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put another button in here, and the distance between the two is going to be where I'm going to have my pens. It's going to be a pen holder. Don't tell anybody, it's a big secret. You can make this as big or as little as you want, because I want to have mine big enough that I could put a couple pens in, and if I have that big of a slot that would hold that colorless blender, I'm absolutely certain it should work for couple pens, you know, couple regular colored pens, whatever, couple pens. Again, I'm doing 3 knots, and I'm tying them tight each time. Make sure that's super tight. Okay. I'm going to leave a little bit on the ends because I think it kind of looks cute. You know, to do it like that. Then I'm going to take out the pen, and that leaves us with this little loop. See that? It's kind of hidden, but that little loop is there so that you can put pens in. Don't tell anyone, that's our secret. And then we'll put this on. And put my button on the front, like that. I might put more charms on the front too, but for now, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what it's going to look like. I'm going to save the rest of the book for another video. I just wanted to kind of walk you through this part because this is kind of, I think, the trickiest part because it involves the eyelets. And again, if you don't have an eyelet punch, you could just go with holes and not use eyelets if you have something that's made out of that's laminated like this. But I really wanted mine to really stand the test of time on this, and so that's why mine is why I did eyelets. So that's our first step. I hope you enjoyed it, that you'll stay tuned for the next one. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.